Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the jargon so you don't have to. Today we're diving into a massive filing from the United States Life Insurance Company in the city of New York, specifically about their USL Separate Account RS, and something called a Portfolio Director NY contract. It's a bit thick, but we'll find the juicy bits about how your retirement savings might be managed and what it all means for you. First up, let's get a quick idea of what this document is all about. It's a registration statement, meaning this company is telling the government all about a product they're offering, which are units of interest in this separate account RS under Group Variable Deferred Annuity contracts. Think of it as a detailed brochure for a retirement savings product, but with all the legal and financial stuff laid out. This document is basically a prospectus, a guide for employers and individuals saving for retirement. It's all about these variable annuity contracts called Portfolio Director NY. It lays out how these contracts work, what you can invest in, and all the fees and risks involved. The core of this offering seems to be about investment choices. You can put your money into what they call variable investment options, which are essentially investments in mutual funds, or into fixed account options, which are guaranteed by the company itself. Now, let's get to what everyone really wants to know, the fees. This prospectus is packed with tables detailing all the costs. It looks like there are several types of contracts called series with different fee structures. For example, series 1, 5, and 7 contracts might have surrender charges if you withdraw money too early up to 5%. Series 11 contracts, however, seem to not have these surrender charges if you withdraw money too early up to 5%. Series 11 contracts, however, seem to not have these surrender charges. Then there are ongoing annual fees. The base contract expenses are around 1% of the money you have in the variable options. On top of that, you have the fund fees and expenses, which can range from a low of 0.20% to a high of 1.29%. Plus, there's this thing called a platform charge that can add to those fund expenses. This filing is for a product that's essentially being rolled out or has very recently been made available, with a proposed offering date around September 2nd, 2025. This gives us a snapshot of how they intend to market and structure these contracts from the get-go. Beyond the fees, we need to talk about the risks. They explicitly state risk of loss and warn you can lose money, including your principal investment. This is standard for variable investments, but it's always good to see it clearly laid out. They also highlight short-term investment risk, making it clear this isn't for people who need quick access to their cash. It's designed for the long haul, for retirement savings. A particularly interesting risk they mention is the deduction of advisory program fee risk. If you use an investment advisor through their program, those fees that are taken out of your contract value can actually reduce your death benefit and other guarantees. They even warn these fees might be subject to surrender charges, taxes, and a 10% federal penalty tax. That's a significant potential hit to your promised benefits. The document details different series of contracts, like Series 1, 5, 7, and 11. These series are offered to different types of group plans like K-12 or healthcare plans, suggesting a strategy to target specific markets with tailored contract features. Looking at the table of contents, we see sections on everything from the purpose of the contract to payout options and federal tax matters. They even have appendices detailing specific funds available and state-specific variations. Here's where we see some of the specific investment options. They list funds like the American Beacon Man Large Cap Growth Fund with current expenses around 1.12% and the Vanguard Wellington Fund, which has expenses of 0.25%. Some of these funds are called public funds, and they note that certain types of retirement plans might not be able to invest in them due to investor control rules. Then we have funds like the T. Rowe Price Retirement Target Date Series. For example, the T. Rowe Price Retirement 2040 Fund has expenses of about 0.84%. These are the kinds of investments that will make up the bulk of many people's retirement portfolios. The fees associated with these funds are crucial. For instance, the Invesco Balanced Risk Commodity Strategy Fund has expenses of 1.15%, which is on the higher end. When you combine these fund expenses with the contract's own fees, the cost can really add up over time. Let's look at how surrender charges might work. In one example, if you have $39,000 in purchase payments over a period and make a total surrender, the charge could be the lesser of 5% of those payments, which comes out to about $1,450 of 5% of the account value. Excess overcharge would be $1,452, 5% of the account value. Excess over 10%, which comes out to about $1,450. This shows how the charges are calculated to make sure they don't exceed a certain limit but are still significant. Another example details a partial surrender. If you withdraw $20,000 and the company uses a last in first out method for calculating surrender charges, meaning they consider your most recent payments first, the charge on that $20,000 when applied to the last payments might be $1,000. When applied to the last payments might be $1,000, but if they calculated it based on the excess over 10% of your account value, it might be $750. The company takes the lesser of the two, which in this specific LIFO example would be 75 Devon. This highlights the importance of understanding how these charges are applied to your specific withdrawals. They really hammer home the point about advisory fees potentially reducing benefits. It's mentioned multiple times. If you use their affiliated advisor VFA and their fees are taken directly from your contract, it can reduce your death benefit and other guarantees. This is a crucial warning that could significantly impact what your beneficiaries receive. Looking at the signing of this document, we see it's signed by key figures at the United States Life Insurance Company in the City of New York, including Christopher P. Filiaggi, who is listed as the Director, Senior Vice President, and Chief Financial Officer. This confirms the backing of the company's top financial leadership for this product. So what's my take on all this? This is a pretty standard but very detailed offering for a variable annuity product. The company seems to be trying to cover all their bases with disclaimers and risk warnings, especially around those advisory program fees. The fee structure with base contract expenses and then fund expenses plus potential platform charges can become quite substantial over time. For someone investing long term, these fees can eat into returns significantly, so understanding them is key. The biggest red flag here for me is the repeated warning about advisory fees, reducing death benefits and other guarantees. It's a bit of a conflict of interest when the fees meant to help you manage your money could also diminish the very protections the contract offers. It's essential for anyone considering this product to do the math on those advisory fees and their potential impact. Ultimately, the company is providing a long-term savings vehicle with investment options and guarantees. But those guarantees come with a cost and are subject to the company's own financial strength. It's a complex product, and the detailed prospectus with its appendices and tables isn't just for show. It contains critical information that could make a big difference in your retirement savings. What's your take on these annuity contracts and the fees involved? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more corporate deep dives. And don't forget to join our Discord community linked in the description where we discuss these filings and much more. Thanks for watching. See you next time.